Hi, this is Julie here with the CTL. We're going to talk about another scenario with Sarah Knight. Wave hello from Student Activities, also teaches FYE. So what happens if you're a student, you're walking between buildings and a student is as well. The student does not have a face covering on walking between buildings. What would you do then?
So we're outside.
Yep.
I feel like that's a tough one because you tell people if maybe need a break, go outside, take a quick breath. I I might just stop and ask like, hey, do you have a face mask? Make sure you're distancing, and if you're just taking a breather, make sure you put that back on as soon as you're done collecting yourself. Um, and if they say they don't have a mask, I would just kindly remind them of the policy and just be gentle, be nice, be empathetic, and be calm because we don't want to create a larger situation.
Yeah, so Sarah, your answer to that question is an answer I'm hearing an awful lot. And there isn't anything necessarily wrong with that, except this one piece, which is our policy states that they have to wear a mask in buildings and in the garage. It does not state that they have to wear a mask outside, but distancing is throughout all of campus. So this is where we come to the place where I like to talk to people about your personality, right? So I make a joke about this all the time, but it's totally true. I was a high school teacher, for a long time. There's a saying that says you can take the teacher out of the classroom, but you can't take the classroom out of the teacher. I'm one of those people where if I'm in line at Kroger and there's a group of individuals, mostly if they're younger, that are like, using swear words or something, before I can catch myself, sometimes I turn around and I say language, with that teacher eye. I don't
Yeah.
mean that necessarily, but it's ingrained in me. So yeah, some people with like my personality might want to address somebody outside, but here's what I want you to know. You are not required to do that. We are not policing students. And the Cincinnati State Police are going to be walking around Campus Police, and they're going to be reminding people of things and doing other things. But, you know, if somebody's walking outside because they need a break and they're trying to keep 6 feet away from other people, we have to kind of observe and take in our surroundings first, because that might be exactly what that person is doing. Now, we might want them to be further away from a door if we're walking through. So what do? You can address it. You can say, hey, can you give me a little bit more than just these couple feet because I'm, walking through and that's our policy, etc. And that's fine if that's what you want to do. But the other thing you can do is just create 6 feet for yourself and move on. You don't need to address every little thing that you encounter on campus, especially because there may be other reasons for people doing something. And if they are, and you do address them, they may come back with, look, man, I'm just taking a break. That higher agitation, the other things that come with attention. And at that point, I would totally de-escalate. And I would say, no, I get it. I would totally validate. I would say, I get it. I just wanted the 6 feet for me to walk into the door. That's all. And at that point, then people generally will move because they're realizing that what you're trying to do is you're trying to follow the policy, and they're making it hard for you to do that by creating some sort of challenge or some obstruction. And usually that's totally fine. Now, with that in mind, I want to take this a step further. Let's say there's maximum occupancy that's listed on an elevator, and you got your maximum occupancy, the doors are getting ready to close, and somebody decides they want to come on board, and you're over the maximum occupancy. I might say, oh no, we're at full capacity. And if that person got on the elevator anyway, I would get off.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in a small space enclosed like that with small groups of people going to encounter a potentially conflict-oriented situation that I can't resolve within 30 seconds of this elevator. But I'm going to get myself off, and I'm going to make sure that the occupancy is what it is. Now, if this is a constant repeat, quote unquote, offender, I don't know how else to say it,
Yeah.
then yeah, you might want to talk to campus police about how you report something if it's consistent. I also want to point out that there's a very distinct difference between what you do in your classroom, when you're maintaining your classroom, and what you do when you're just walking through. Coming back to this idea that we are a model. Our role on campus is as a model, a role model. So what we do is going to model for students what they should do. The way we handle non-compliance, they're likely also going to handle it the same way, or at least be able to see how we handle it with caring and empathy, just like you mentioned. So I agree 100%, but that's something about planning now. I want you to go through the remainder of these scenarios on your own, because what I'm asking you to do is plan ahead. How are you going to handle these things when they happen to you? right? And so if we have a plan in place, we've thought it through, it's much easier for us to execute that with caring and empathy, which is what we're asking people to do. All right. Thanks, Sarah, for that.